Good day everyone. We are here to report about wind turbine. So first, let me introduce myself, Constantino Tom Owen, along with my other group mates, which are De La Cruz John Albert, De La Cruz Marlon, Villamanca Berniel, Santos Jean Pronsoa, and Torres Mariel. So let us take a closer look in the wind turbine. So we have here the rotor, which has these parts, the blades and the hub. So the blades are connected to the hub, which is also connected to the nacelle part of the wind turbine. So if we zoom in and look closer at the parts of the nacelle, we could see clearly where it is connected to. So here is a close-up view of what is inside the nacelle in a wind turbine. So we have here the hub where the blades are connected, and it is connected to a low-speed shaft which is connected along the gearbox, where the gearbox is also connected to another shaft leading to the generator, where the energy is produced in the wind turbine. So let us talk about the wind turbine operating principle, how the wind turbine operates. So as you can see, the wind turbine is a type of renewable energy. It means that the energy it comes from is from natural resources like the sun from a solar panel and the wind, which is in the wind turbine. So that renewable energy that the wind turbine harness or gather is what being produced as the electricity. So how does it work? The wind turbine uses a rotor, just like what I showed you earlier. That the rotor, which where the blades are connected on the hub, then the blades are the ones that collects the wind. And when the wind passes through the blades, it rotates. Basically, that rotation is collected to a generator which is connected along the shaft that produces electricity. So that is the very basic concept of a wind turbine operation. But how about what a wind turbine called when there is a group of wind turbines? So how do we classify them? We call them wind farm. So that is the proper word to describe a large number of wind turbine. So let us proceed more to the parts and operating principle of the wind turbine. So let us take a closer look to this image. So let us isolate it and discuss it one by one. So let us start with the very basic part of the wind turbine and the main part of it, which is the blade. So the blade is the part that rotates due to the force it catches. So basically, when the wind passes through the blade, just like what I said, it spins the blade, where the blade is connected to the hub, which is also connected through the low-speed shaft. Then that low-speed shaft is connected through a gearbox, which amplifies the rotation that the wind gives to the wind turbine. Then there is another shaft which is called the high-speed shaft that is connected to the generator, where it spins the generator which generates electricity. And that is how electricity is produced from a wind turbine, specifically from its part which is the blade. And if we want the most efficient method of using blades in a wind turbine, we must use only 3 blades. So why is it? So the next reporter will discuss it, why 3 blades is the most efficient maximum number of blades.
So, dito naman tayo sa blade design. Ang blades ng wind turbine ay karaniwang malaki at mataas upang mas epektibo itong makapag-generate ng kuryente. Ang kanilang hugis ay dinesign upang makakuha ng napakaraming enerhiya mula sa hangin habang pinapanatili ang mababang gastos ito. Sa paglipas ng panahon or mga innovation na naganap na nagkaroon ng mga makabagong disenyo na nag-result sa mas compressed, tahimik at mas malakas na wind turbines. Sa kanyang nakayang mag-generate ng power kahit sa mahihinang hangin. It means ang mga bagong wind turbines ay mas effective, mas efficient sa pagpuproduce ng malinis na energy. Ang kadalasang haba ng wind turbine ay umaabot sa around 50 meters at ang naitalang pinakamahaba ay umabot sa 107 meters na nakabase sa Siemens Gamesa. So, in this slide po ay makikita po natin yung longest wind turbine in the world. So, yan po yung nakabase sa Siemens Gamesa na ang haba niya po ay 107 meters. So next is airfoils. Ang airfoils ay ang cross-sectional area na hugis ng blades ng wind turbine. So, ito ang nagtatakda ng aerodynamics ng wind turbine. Mahalaga ang airfoils sa disenyo ng blades. Dahil sa disenyo ng airfoils, ang blade tips ay mas maaring mas gumalaw or mas umikot ng mas mabilis kaysa sa hangin. Kaya nakaka-generate ng mas maraming power at mas mataas na efficiency. So, in this slide, meron po tayong wind turbine airfoil design. Ito po yung pinagkaiba ng thick airfoil family for large blades and thin airfoil family for medium blades. So, parehas po silang mayroong tip, region airfoil, primary outboard airfoil, root region airfoil. So, ang pinagkaiba lang po nila ay ang kanilang hugis. Yung isa po ay mas manipis at yung isa po ay mas makapal. So, next slide po. So, ang blades ng wind turbine ay gumagana sa pamamagitan ng dalawang aerodynamic force, ang lift force and drag force. Ang mga forces na iyon po ay sanhi ng hangin at ng airfoils ng blades. So, ang lift force po ay perpendicular o pahalang sa daloy ng hangin at nakasunod sa ikot ng blades. Samantalang ang drag force po naman ay nakasunod sa direksyon ng apparent wind at kabaligtaran ng galaw ng blades. Tumataas ang drag force depende sa laki ng frontal area ng isang bagay na humaharap sa hangin. So, in this slide, meron po tayong wind turbine lift and drag formula. Meron pong chord line, angle of attack, relative wind, lift and drag, and the resultant force, and then center of pressure. So the formula for drag is CD rho B squared AR over 2. Then the formula for lift is equal to CL rho V squared AB over 2. So ang airfoil po na hugis ng blade ng wind turbine ay merong dalawang air pressure sa magkabilang side nito. Ang isang side ng blade na mas kurbado or convex side ay nagdudulot ng mas mababang air pressure o lumilikha ng mas mababang air pressure, habang ang kabilang side naman na hindi gaanong kurbado or medyo concave ay may mataas na air pressure. Ang pagkakaiba ng air pressure na naging sanhi ng pag-ikot ng blades tulad sa isang wind turbine, sa madaling salita, ang hugis ng airfoils ang tumutulong sa pagbubuo ng force na kailangan upang umikot ang blades ng wind turbine. So, here's the question. Based on the figure illustrating the optimum angle of attack, which part of the blade is the leading edge and the trailing edge of the blade? Pwede yung front or the back. So sa image po, yung leading edge ay the curved forwardmost point of the airfoil. This is the part that initially meets the relative wind. Isa naman. Trailing edge, the rearmost point of the airfoil. This is the point where the airfoil separates from the airfoil surface. Therefore, the leading edge is the front and the trailing edge is the back.
Wind turbine blade wind orientation. The photo shows the side and back side ng wind turbine as well as the leading edge and trailing edge ng blade. Wind turbine blade rotation. What will be the rotation of the blade? Ang rotation ng blade ay depende sa hangin at depende sa design. Kasi meron design na counterclockwise at meron din design na clockwise. Is it pushed to the side that has more curve or pushed to the side that has less curve? Mas pinupush ito ng may less curve dahil nakagawa ito ng lift and drag at pag-ikot ng blade sa kasama yung hub. Wind turbine blade design. In addition to its curved design, twisted and taper blades ay ine-enhance ito ng aerodynamics at may kombinasyon to sa effect of twisting and tapering blade along its length improves. The angle of attack increasing speed at efficiency at pag-angat habang mabagal ang paghila. Wind turbine number of blades. Here is now the question. Based on the previous slides, what are the numbers of blades is the best design in consideration of all factors, construction and operation of wind turbine? Ang magandang design ng wind turbine ay ang 3-blade design dahil ito ay efficiency at meron tong aerodynamics at pagkabalance sa wind turbine. Tapos mababa din yung cost niya. At maganda rin ito sa long term na paggamit katulad ng mga nasa Ilocos Norte. Wind turbine number of blades. Ngayon, alam na natin na ang rear blade are mas curved more than the front. This varied shape causes a pressure differential kapag nagmumove yung hangin across the blade. which is the causes blades to move. Yun nga yung hangin. Because of the obstruction of the blade, air moves at faster velocity behind the blade than in front of it. This is what sets the rotation of blades in motion. Ang engineer mas kinoconsider nila yung speed and drag in designing sa blade to ensure the level of efficiency. Ang example na lang ito ay too much drag na kinecreate ng obstruction of the blade, the power yield will be a lot lower. If not enough drag is created, the blades could not move quickly. Kapag hindi daw gumawa ng sapat na paghila, yung blades daw hindi mag-move ng matulin, causing them to break the sound barrier. Wind turbine, number of blades. The rule of thumb are, the fewer blades, the better. Ang mas mga counting blades daw ay mas better since less drag and increase in efficiency. The number of blades increase the torque and reduces the optimum rotation speed. Having fewer blades reduce drag. Mas kaunti yung blades, mas kaunti din yung hatak. Wind turbine, one blade. Because of the decreased drag, one blade would be the optimum number when it comes to energy yield. However, one blade could cause the turbine to become unbalanced. Kapag daw yung isang blade na turbine, mas unbalanced siya at hindi practical sa choice ng stability of turbine. Wind turbine, number of blades, 2 blade. At first glance, two-bladed turbine seem like the optimal configuration for wind turbine. Perfectly balanced, and with one blade less than 3-bladed turbine, they will generate less drag. So why are not all turbines made with 2 blade? Dahil may trouble daw ito sa may yawing, and yaw is when its head or nozzle turns to face the wind, yung pagharap daw sa hangin, due to an effect called gyroscopic precession. When two-bladed turbine yaw, it creates a wobble as the bladed go from vertical plane to horizontal plane, which additional stress on mounting bearings and wearing them down faster. Mas nagkakaroon daw ng stress yung bearings ng wind turbine at mas nakakasira daw ito ng mas matulin kapag 2-blade.
So now, ano yung mangyayari kapag nag-add or more than 3 blades ang turbine? Diba as mentioned earlier na the fewer blades, the better. Since there will be less drag. So kapag nag-add ng blade, ang mangyayari ay babagal yung rotation. Yung drag force madadagdagan dahil may panibagong blade. So babagal yung ikot, makes the generator slower. So kapag mabagal ang generator, yung electricity na gine-generate ay mababa o hindi gaano kataasan. So less efficiency. Hindi maganda na mababa lang yung power na nakukuha sa turbine. Bali parang nagsayang ka lang ng pera for the blade or for the turbine, tapos hindi naman maganda yung results. So hindi desirable ang maraming blade. For these reasons, turbines designed with 3 blades are the ideal. So nasabing ideal yung 3 blades dahil nga mas stable o sakto o balanse yung blade sa pag-ikot. So make it more suitable for the turbine. So malay natin in the future, diba, mababasan pa yung blade o mas magiging ideal pa yung dalawang blade. So malay lang natin, diba, edi mas maganda, baka mas matipid o low cost yung aabutin. Next is part and functions. Blade tilting mechanism. According to the wind speed, the relative velocity angle of the wind also changes. So, totoo naman na hindi lang sa isang angle o isang direction nang gagaling yung wind. Kumbaga, pwede sa gilid o sa likod ng turbine. That's why merong blade tilting mechanism. Nang sa ganun ay may align o mai-tilt yung angle ng blade kung saan nanggagaling yung hangin. So that its position is always at the optimum angle of attack. So yun nga yung kapag naka-ayos na yung o naka-align na yung blade, syempre magiging smooth na yung ikot and mag-generate na ng electricity. So yun yung blade tilting mechanism. Kumbaga ina-adjust yung blade, hindi naka-fix sa isang direction. Next is nozzle. So ito yung nasa likod ng blade, yung malaking box. Kumbaga ito yung pinaka-housing ng gearbox, generator, slow speed shaft, and other small parts. Ayan yung nakikita nyo na picture. Next, gearbox. So ginagawa ng gearbox ay kino-convert yung slow rotation ng blades into a faster speed. Kasi di ba yung ikot ng blade ng turbine ay di gaano mabilis. So ngayon, yung ikot ng shaft ay di enough for generator to achieve a grid voltage output. So most generators need to be turned at 1.5 RPM. So can you imagine kung gaano kabilis yung rotation na kailangan ng generator? Kung yung blade mismo yung gagawa niya, napaka-imposibleng mangyari. Ang laki ng blade tapos mabagal lang yung ikot na kayang gawin ng blade. So ngayon, dito na tatrabaho yung gearbox. Yung common ratio is about 90:1. So yung isang buong ikot ng blade, nagagawang 90 ikot ng gearbox with a rate of 16.7 RPM na input from the rotor, and yung output na nito is 1.5 RPM na dadaan sa gearbox for generator. Next is direct drive. Pinagkaiba lang nito is wala siyang gearbox. Direkta na siya sa generator. So kung ano yung spin na nagagawa ng blade, yun din yung ikot na ginagawa ni generator. Comparing to gear type, the slow rotation and the decrease in moving parts of PMDD generator. So dahil nga mas mababagal lang yung ikot ng shaft, yung lifespan ng turbine mas tatagal. Manilesen yung noise, vibration, and stress. So it makes na mas mababa yung cost of maintenance. An important fact due to wind inconsistency, gear type turbine o yung may gearbox often operates at partial loads. So the efficiency of PMDD generator excels even in these conditions. Diba sa direct drive turbine, yung rotor nakadirektang nakakabit sa generator. Kung ano yung lakas ng hangin o yung ikot ng nagagawa ng blade, is yun lang din yung ino-operate sa generator. So dito ngayon papasok yung magnet. Dahil ang direct drive turbine gumagamit ng generator na may maraming magnetic poles. Nang sa ganon, yung mabagal na pag-ikot is sapat na to generate electricity.
So, dito na nga tayo sa disadvantage ng PMDD or Permanent Magnet Direct Drive. So, one main disadvantage ng PMDD, di ba matagal ang pag-ikot ng blades? Yung generator, rekta na siya mismo sa blade. Kumbaga, kung ano ang ikot na napoproduce ng blade, yun na rin ang napupunta sa generator. Hindi gaya ng may gearbox or gear type na napapabilis ang ikot ng blades bago mapunta sa generator. Kaya ang ginagawa sa gearless type ay nagdadagdag ng set of magnets para ma-create niya yung required frequency and power. Sa pagdadagdag naman ng permanent magnet, nag-increase ang diameter ng generator na nagiging dahilan ng pagiging mas mabigat nito compare natin sa gear type na wind turbine. At saka ang ginagamit na magnet dito ay made of neodymium, which is halos nakikita na lang natin sa China. At alam naman natin kung ganoon, magiging sobrang mahal ng magnet. Pero sinasabi ng ibang expert, since yung gear type ay nasa maximum efficiency na siya, efficiency point na siya, ito namang si gearless ay mas marami pa silang nakikitang improvement na pwedeng madiskubre compare sa gear type. Kasi nasa maximum efficiency point na nga yung gear type. Isa kasing advantage ng gearless type ay less ang kanyang vibration compare sa gear type. At hamak tahimik mag-operate ng gearless, yun nga lang, mahal at mas malaki.
Siyempre, pag mas malaki, mas mag-i-increase ang size ng tower as well as dun sa foundation. Marami pa ring factor ng disadvantage itong gearless. So that is why di pa rin siya masyadong ginagamit. So next is the brake. So simple lang ang function ng brake. So kapag na-detect niya na masyado ng malakas ang hangin at ikasisira na ito ng wind turbine, automatic na isa-shutdown niya ang unit. Hindi lang dahil sa lakas ng hangin ang nagiging rason kung bakit mag-ooperate ang brake. So once it detected some vital parts are not working properly, so it will automatically shut down the turbine. So that is how the function of brake works within the turbine. So the yaw system consists of yaw drive and yaw motor. So ang wind turbine hindi siya nakapix. Sinusundan niya yung wind direction. Kaya dapat palaging nakaharap yung blade sa direction ng hangin. Di ba ang hangin pabago-bago yan ng direction. Kaya dapat yung turbine automatically kaya niyang sundan yon. So dito na papasok ang yaw system. Automatically iniro-rotate ng yaw motor yung wind turbine papunta sa wind direction na dapat nakaharap palagi yung blades. So, para siyang sensor-equipped mechanism. So, saan nga ba nanggagaling ang information para ang yaw drive ay gumalaw? So, ang sagot dyan ay ang wind vane. Diba, ang wind vane is nagde-detect ng kung saan ang direksyon ng hangin. So, siya ang nagbibigay ng information sa yaw drive kung saang direksyon ng hangin para yung yaw drive o yaw motor sundan yung direksyon ng hangin.
How does a wind turbine work? You've probably seen a wind farm. But do you know how wind force is converted into electrical energy? We are going to show you how a wind turbine works. Each wind turbine has a wind vane at the top that indicates the wind direction. This allows the turbine to rotate on the tower and face the wind. The blades also rotate on their axis for maximum resistance. Wind force, that is, the kinetic energy contained in moving air currents, spins the blades. These are designed to fully capture its energy. They can be as long as 60 meters each and are made of very light and resistant materials for ease of movement. This is why they can produce energy even with very light winds, starting from about 11 kilometers per hour. With very strong winds, above 90 kilometers per hour, the blades are placed in the feathered position and the turbine stops spinning for safety reasons. The blades are attached to the wind turbine through the hub, which is coupled to the low-speed shaft. The low-speed shaft is given this name because it spins at the same speed of the blades, between 7 and 12 revolutions per minute. To produce electricity, it is necessary to increase the turning speed of the low-speed shaft. That is the mission of the gearbox, which raises the speed over 100 times and transfers it to the high-speed shaft. The high-speed shaft, that rotates at up to 1500 revolutions per minute, is connected to a generator. The generator converts the kinetic energy into electricity, a source of energy that is easier to transport and use. The electricity produced in the generator is conducted through the interior of the tower to the base. There, the transformer raises the voltage for transport inside the wind farm. From each turbine, alternating current is sent to the substation through underground cables. Here, the voltage is increased again to feed it into the power grid and transport it to end consumers. This is how we use the wind to light cities, feed industries, schools or hospitals, or operate our household appliances in a clean and
how did we get from this to this? In some ways, the answer just boils down to climate change. We need way more renewable energy, so it makes sense that lots and lots of engineering and economic resources have gone into improving and enlarging windmills. But while climate change can explain why windmills have pushed towards really good design, it doesn't explain what makes a design good. I see three main features to explain: the size, the number of blades, and the shape of the blades. Size is easiest. The bigger the area, the more wind you can use, and therefore the more wind energy you can capture. Plus, the higher up you go, the less the wind itself is impeded by stuff on the ground, the faster it blows, and therefore the more wind energy you can capture. So for a windmill to have access to air with a lot of energy, it should be giant and tall. However, a paradox of windmills is that they need to capture energy from the wind while also letting the wind pass. If you extracted 100% of the kinetic energy from the wind, it would stop moving and there'd be nowhere for incoming wind to go. So you have to let some wind through. Calculation shows that a mathematically ideal windmill can only extract 59% of the wind's kinetic energy. Since windmills can't block the wind too much, they're faced with a trade-off. Either have fast-moving blades that cover a small amount of area, or slow-moving blades that cover a large amount of area. This is because just as an airplane wing produces more lift the faster the plane is moving, a windmill blade catches more of the wind the faster it's moving. So roughly speaking, a fast-moving windmill, like modern ones, needs correspondingly fewer, thinner blades in order to not slow the wind too much, while a slow-moving windmill can have more, wider blades. Obviously, modern windmills have gone with the narrow, fast approach. So why are modern windmills designed to spin more quickly than old windmills? I mean, if slower were better, there would be no reason modern windmills couldn't look like giant high-tech sails. The answer comes from Newton's third law. Just as the wind pushes the blades sideways to turn them, so the blades push back on the wind, giving the air a reverse twist and hence some rotational kinetic energy, which is energy the windmill doesn't capture. So the most efficient windmill will give the wind the smallest twist possible. And you guessed it, the faster a windmill blade moves, the less rotational energy it gives to the wind. This might seem a little counterintuitive, but a similar thing happens when a ball falls and bounces off of an angled block. If the block isn't moving, conservation of momentum and energy mean that the ball bounces to the left and the block gets pushed right. But if the block starts off moving to the right, it's able to absorb more of the ball's energy when it accelerates. The faster the block moves, the more energy it extracts from the ball. You can see this because the ball moves less each time. Windmill blades are a bit more complicated, but it's roughly the same idea. For decent efficiency, a windmill blade should move through the air at least 5 times faster than the incoming speed of the wind, though obviously different parts of the windmill blade are moving at different speeds, and so the shape varies along the length of the blade. So, in summary, an ideal power-generating windmill is big to capture a lot of wind, tall to capture strong winds, fast-moving to be most efficient, and narrow-bladed because a fast-moving windmill needs to have a smaller blade area, aka just a few narrow blades, to not slow down the wind too much.
Let's now talk about the wind turbine's tower. Wind velocity increases at a higher altitude. This means that the taller the tower is, the greater electricity it can produce. Majority of wind turbines are supported by conical tubular steel towers with a height of usually 75 to 110 meters, depending on the blade's diameter. The tallest is still for completion in the mid of 2022, which is 280 meters, to be installed at the test center in Western Jutland, Denmark. So wind turbine tower is the one that supports the wind turbine's blades and nacelle, which houses the generator, gearbox, and other components. Its primary purpose is to elevate the blades to a height where they can capture more consistent and stronger winds. So, ibig sabihin, ang pinaka-purpose ng tower ay iangat kumbaga yung blade sa taas kung saan mas malakas yung hangin. Kaya mas tumataas yung tower, mas maganda dahil mas malakas doon yung wind flow, kaya mas efficient yung turbine sa pag-generate ng kuryente. So, there are different types of wind turbine towers, but the most common is the tubular steel towers, which is made of sections of rolled steel and is conical in shape. So, in designing a wind turbine tower, ang mga kino-consider aside from the cost ay, of course, una, the height. the materials and the foundation. So this picture depicts the historical evolution of wind turbine size. In 2024, construction has begun on the world's tallest wind turbine in the municipality of Schipkau in Brandenburg, Germany. This imposing wind turbine will reach a height of 364 meters na katumbas na ng 120-story building. So the best places for wind farms are in coastal areas, at the tops of rounded hills, open plains and gaps and mountains, places where the wind is strong and reliable. Some then eye offshore. Pag sinabi natin offshore, these are the areas and bodies of water like seas or oceans that are away from the land. In the context of wind farms, offshore wind farms are wind turbines installed in the water, usually several kilometers from the coastline, since the wind is typically more consistent over water. So, 25 km per hour naman ang bilis ng wind na maganda para sa wind farm. So, ngayon naman, syempre, merong advantages at disadvantages ang wind turbines or wind farm. Umpisahan natin sa disadvantages. Una, the wind is unpredictable. Ang wind ay hindi consistent kasi nagbabago-bago yung lakas ng hangin. Minsan malakas, minsan naman mahina. Since ang main reason talaga ng generation ng electricity sa wind farm ay yung hangin, yung pagbabago-bago ng lakas ng hangin ay makakaapekto sa energy production. Pangalawa, sa location and maintenance, ang wind farm ay suitable sa mga lugar near the coasts at yung mga land na ito ay typically mahal at mahirap pang i-maintain due to weather conditions. So, third disadvantage, wind farms can affect television reception on nearby places due to signal interference from the turbine's large metal structures and rotating blades. So, ngayon naman sa advantages. So, una, ang primary source ng energy na ay libre, which is yung wind nga. So, libre yung hangin. Ang mga wind farms ay hindi na kailangan ng fuel. Pangalawa, wind farm is a clean source of energy and does not produce waste or greenhouse gases. So actually, wind energy is considered as one of the most environmentally friendly energy sources available today. So third, the land beneath can usually still be used for farming. Bakit? Dahil sa small footprint. The actual area occupied by the wind turbine towers, roads, and infrastructure is relatively small compared to the total area of the land. Kung ikukumpara sa total area ng land, onting area ng land lang ang ino-occupy ng mga infrastructure sa wind farm. Therefore, yung natitirang land pwede gamitin for farming. Lastly, it is a good method of supplying energy to remote areas. So, the following is the list of the largest wind farm in the world. Kauna-unahan dyan yung Gansu Wind Farm, which can be found in China. And as of 2025, its capacity is approximately 22,500 megawatts. Followed by the Alto Wind Energy Center, Mapandal Wind Farm in India, Hornsea Project 1, Mark Bigden Wind Farm, and Jaisalmer Wind Park. So here is a detailed information about the Gansu Wind Farm. So Gansu Wind Farm is also known as Jiuquan Wind Power Base. It can be found in western Gansu province in China. In 2008, construction began on a 750 kilovolts AC power line to carry electricity from the wind farm. And in 2009, the construction of the wind farms themselves officially began. In November 2010, the first phase was completed. It involves the installation of over 3,500 wind turbines with an installed capacity of 5,160 megawatts, and it has an estimated cost of 120 billion Chinese yuan or 17.5 billion US dollars. In 2005, it has an installed capacity of around 22,500 megawatts, and it spans an area larger than some countries. So the largest wind power project in Southeast Asia is the Philippines' very own Burgos Wind Farm, located in Burgos, Ilocos Norte. The estimated cost for the construction of the wind farm was 450 million US dollars, which was completed in 2015 in the 600-hectare site. So the facility consists of 50 wind turbines, each with a capacity of 3 megawatts, generating electricity to the Luzon grid. Each wind turbine rests on a tubular steel tower and has a 775-meter hub height and a 90-meter rotor diameter. So ngayon naman, lastly, wind turbine grid operation. So the wind turns the blades of the turbine, which converts wind energy into mechanical energy or the rotational motion. The rotational motion from the blades is transferred to the low-speed shaft, so this part rotates slowly like the blades. So, syempre, yung bilis na yun, hindi pa yun enough. So, the low-speed shaft connects to a gearbox, which increases the speed of rotation. The high-speed shaft spins faster after passing through the gearbox. This high-speed rotation is necessary to generate electricity. The high-speed shaft is connected to the generator, where the rotational energy is converted into electricity. So, yung electricity na produce from the generator ay sent to the transformer, which can be found on the base of the tower, where the voltage is increased or stepped up to a level suitable for transmission over long distances. So, from here, the electricity flows to the grid and is distributed to homes, businesses, and other consumers.